Yeah, it's showing the audio button. So I guess we're good. It says it's recording, so.
Okay. So we'll call the meeting to order at 6:03 PM. Roll call.
Paul St. Armand.
Colleen Arthur.
Alex Ferraro for staff.
Nick Longo.
Maureen Buffy. Norma Smith. Has everybody read the minutes? Do we have a motion to?
I'll make a motion for 30 minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, CLG grant, that's what this is, this is what you gave us, so do you wanna talk about that, Alex?
We just kindly put together this draft, which you all have a copy of the next progress report. So it's just a couple of days, so we're catching up, I suppose, to most times we catch.
Alex hasn't seen it because I just finished it and brought it here, so
Oh, okay,
I thought
so
it'd
you
be,
can talk, yeah,
well, yeah, everybody can talk
well,
about
yeah,
it,
but I
but
mean, you,
I thought it would be a good idea for
Yeah,
everybody to
okay.
actually see the work
Yeah,
and, you know, have input if you see something that should be added,
Mhm.
just so you can see the machining of this stuff. So,
You can either take a second or read it. I don't know
Mhm.
if it's. Yeah, I don't know that it needs to be read into the record. I mean, I can just speak in the broad terms that, as I think I said last month, the delay was that our consultant had a minor side swipe of his car door from somebody else. And it was one of those deals where you'd think it would be a simple fix, but then the part takes
Nothing
like a
ever
month.
is. Mm.
So he finally got out here, I think last week, it was just last week. And so he took his pictures. I have the thumb drive plugged in so I can
Mhm.
show you some of them, but he's through with having done the photo survey and the basic sense of what's out there. And he told me he's now entered the part where he's filling out the Excel spreadsheet that HPHC gave him to enter all the information, keep track of it.
okay. It says here that he missed the March 31st deadline, what is that?
That was the original way that the calendar had been set up
Yeah.
was that he would have been done with the spreadsheet by that point.
Yeah.
So,
So do we,
yeah,
do we need to make a new deadline?
no,
I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think they're kind of,
because HPHC, I mean, he had them copied on all these emails, so they know
Okay.
what he was going through.
mm,
They asked him maybe 2 weeks ago,
Mhm.
like, what's your schedule looking like, just curious, but they haven't said anything like, can you give us an updated schedule? I think they just.
Okay.
yeah. And the March 30th comes from this
Mhm.
appendix 3
Oh,
where
right,
all of the deadlines were set up in the
Right.
grant.
I had asked him as well when he stopped by after to bring in that fund
Mhm.
drive. How he felt about the rest of it, you know, was he gonna just accelerate
Mhm,
the
mhm.
spreadsheet part of it? He said, yeah, it's
Okay.
basically just gonna go like that.
Okay. So do we want to see his pictures?
Sure.
Sure.
Let's see, these things crash.
So then, Alex, I'll send you this as a PDF,
Mhm.
only because the formatting is so goofed up in this thing from the state that the
Yeah.
boxes will be all over the place if I send it to you in a Word document.
No problem.
So, okay.
I know, I end up sending a lot of PDFs for that
Yeah.
very reason.
And if you did see a change that you need to make, I send it back to you pretty quick.
Looks, yeah, I mean, it pretty much looks the same as since they're all
Yeah.
the notes anyhow.
I just kept it as, you know, only the information that they asked for, not volunteering a lot of
Mhm.
detail.
Which again, they're on these emails, so they know, like they know what's going on. So I'll just click through some of these quick. But I guess the big picture is. So these would be like, you know, buildings in both villages, so you put them both into one, but
Mhm.
he knows, you know, obviously which ones are. Harris, like most of them up front are Harris and are great.
Yeah, those are the ones behind the mill.
So I assume that in the
That's
spreadsheet, it does like
Behind
what we've
Harris
seen
Mill.
in the other, the National Register
Yeah,
forms, where
All the
approximate
duplexes.
age of the building, you know, when it was built.
Now the condo.
All that stuff.
that's how they, yeah, so they
Building by
handed it
building.
to him, and that's. To the extent that they've got a standardized thing, that's where he enters in all the data, and that's You know, the state's got it.
That's good. That's the
Uh,
first I'd heard of that. I'm glad to hear that.
I know, I think it's actually pretty good. I'm glad that they
Mhm.
made such a thing in the first place. I don't know who was the first that prompted them, but it will keep things organized and it's durable, you know what I mean?
Yep, yeah.
The more people, they have a copy, we have a copy, and it just. No one laptop can have coffee spilled on it and, you know. we've got
Wipe out the whole thing.
Yeah. So, it works the way it needs to. So, what he had told me, by the way, was, like, I think, he thinks that. He estimates around somewhere in 40 or 50 range for contributing properties, number of properties in Harris. And I think more like 30 for Arkwright. And so he's gonna dig into it further, but he said, I'm pretty confident that, also I invited him, it was short notice in the end, but I thought to invite him. If he wanted to call into Zoom today, he had a conflict today, but maybe we'll be able to get him next time and he can tell you straight from the horse's mouth.
Mhm.
But basically, again, 40 or 50 for Harris, maybe 30 for Arkwright. He said Harris, he's pretty confident that there's definitely a district there. Arkwright is less
That's an old one.
comparatively.
Hmm.
Mhm. Comparatively less like, you know, intact, but still, you know, we'll see, he's on the fence, we'll see what he pulls together, I guess. At least I think that's how he said it. Again, it'll be good when we get it straight from the horse's mouth next month. So, forgive me for clicking through fast. There's
Yeah, we get the
80
idea.
total.
Mhm.
Let me know when you guys are good.
Is the Harris Fire Station on that, hopefully?
I believe so, yeah. I don't know how many more, but eventually we get to like the mill, and some of the other buildings.
Oh, there's the mill, yeah, okay,
What village is the bottom of Fairview Avenue
Phoenix.
in Westwood? Is that West
West
Warwick?
Warwick.
That's, yeah, it's Phoenix.
Now, isn't the mill already on the National Registry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay to like also list it, you know, if it's individually, but then also say
Yeah.
it's like contributing to a district.
Mhm. Mhm.
Is there a house that has a cemetery in their yard, but I didn't see the cemetery? I thought it was on Potter Court, but the address is listed as Highland.
Oh,
Who was I know?
Well, somebody had a really nice house there.
Mhm.
the old mill houses, yeah, that one, that's gonna be
Yes.
taken down, that's the one they're gonna take down, if someday.
For the
I
parking
wonder
lot?
what the
Yeah.
fireplace looks
For-
like in there.
It's
Parking lot.
intact,
We
it's
went in there
intact,
and saw it.
Is it?
it's
wooden?
intact.
Is there like a wooden mantle around brick and stuff?
No.
just-
No.
It was more like a cooking
Yeah.
fireplace.
But there's a
Okay.
a mantle behind a paneled wall, remember, Paul? There
Yeah.
was a mantle behind a paneled wall.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, they just paneled right over it.
But
huh?
that one that was in the kitchen was like more for
Yeah,
putting a
yeah.
stove hooked
But
into,
it's like an
like
original,
a wood stove
that-
that you'd cook on.
There was one, then, forgot its name, but it's a.
That's one of my
standalone-
projects
That one?
from years ago,
Yeah.
that house.
Oh, the one we were just,
Yeah, with the sun space and
Yeah.
solar attic on it.
oh, wow.
People have never done anything with the top. They should have taken it off a long time ago.
Huh.
But it's not the same people there anymore.
No.
They sold it 15 years ago.
There was a house in Cranston, that's the end of those pictures,
okay,
that had a fireplace like that. It was,
Yeah.
can't remember its name, but you may have heard about it in the news because people had been using that property as a grow house and they got busted by
oh, yeah,
the Fed.
Yeah,
Oh,
wow.
So we
Yeah.
went in because we wanted it,
Mm.
it was from 17 something, I think.
yeah,
But it was, you know, it had one of those old cooking, you know, fireplace, big huge thing right in the center of the house.
Yeah,
Very
one of
close
those
to-
swing out arms that you put,
Mm.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
sometimes, I don't know,
good thing they didn't burn it down.
yeah, I know. Well, so at any point, you know.
So there's not a whole lot of commercial buildings or
Not-
landmarks like an old library or a church changed to a.
the churches
They're
are
all,
gone.
they're all
Yeah.
gone,
Just-
other than like
Fire
the Harris
station.
Fire Station is one of the biggest
Just a
landmarks
bunch of
there.
Yeah.
duplexes
Yeah.
heavily
So
modified.
it's-
That's
No,
about
no.
it.
Hill housing, I guess, is.
Yeah, it's pretty much the
And-
mill
and
house.
then
Anyway, that was like the defining
Right,
strong
that-
thing.
House that you showed that's very elegant is
Yeah.
one of the only
Mhm.
ones
Yeah.
left.
A Riverview Nursing Home, they took
Is-
down the
yeah.
governor's
Yeah.
house.
Yep.
for
I read
that.
all about
Both,
that.
both governor houses, they were side by side. And they're both going because of Riverview, yeah. Okay,
Yeah, so anyway, we've got the
That's
photos
a
that
beginning.
one of you
Yep.
deliverables for this,
Mhm.
so. This thing is definitely underway, you know,
Good.
we're beginning to check boxes for it, so as long as it keeps rolling.
okay, very good, very good. Thank you.
This will be uploaded, so.
Yep.
We'll get that box checked off too,
Okay.
and yeah, you burns and. go
Yeah,
on
just,
to-
you know, like we did last time, signatures,
Yeah.
scan it and email, you know, forward it off to the state.
If this version is fine, I mean, should I just sign this very
Yeah.
sheet and scan it?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. All right,
Maybe look it over one more
Okay.
time in the quiet of your office and then,
yes. So good then, all right.
okay,
All right, moving on to the vision statement.
okay. So just keeping it simple, the first two, statement number 1 and 2 were the ones that I brought to the last meeting and we looked through them. And we came up with some great ideas and then that's where we're at now with the final draft. So please take a minute to look at it, and if you made notes from the last meeting of things that we were gonna change, let me know if I hit the mark or not, because I waited too long to go back to the one that we did in the meeting, and by that time I couldn't remember where my arrows were pointing. My memory had faded me. But I think I got it. I think it's close to what we asked for. And the, in parentheses, the is and the are, we had discussed the possibility of saying Coventry is a community.
Should be.
So, you know, I wanted to see if everybody was okay with that, because I think that we understand what we mean by that. When we're done, it is gonna be like that. But a person that's just reading it for general purposes might think, well, it is a community like that. Where are those online resources and publications and events? I could be overanalyzing it, because that's what I
You
do.
are.
Okay, so make it is and
Make
are?
it
We're
is
supposed
and
to-
are.
Okay,
Make it
And-
sound like,
Is and are,
we've already, yeah, well, it's a vision of what we're going to be. So you don't want to say will be, you should say is,
Are, we are.
we are.
you're very optimistic. Okay,
Well, that's okay.
Well-
so we're gonna make
All
this
right.
happen. It's only a few things we have to do, like,
this is a man and woman's difference of opinion. We'll let the women have it.
Well, I thought that was the difference between the mission statement and the vision
yeah,
statement.
yeah,
vision
we're
is like-
projecting 5 to 10 years in the
Yeah,
future.
yeah.
So I think we could easily hit in way less than 5 years,
Mhm.
a good start on these things that are on this little list right
Right.
here.
The other thing to probably change is, so where it says that will encourage them
Yeah,
to,
mhm.
just, online resources. Just take that will encourage them out,
Encouraging them,
Okay,
encouraging them.
So.
no, I think,
just to, just.
Then it'll
Oh,
be.
to encourage, yeah,
No,
Coventry
not
is-
take the encourage out, it says
no,
Read-
Coventry
Is.
is a community whose residents engage with the town's heritage through exhibits, publications, events, and online resources to explore their local history and are stakeholders in local preservation.
To be. You know what I mean?
so
To
take
be,
the,
that's not the same as will be,
Oh, to be
it's just that same tense of the verb.
and to become, okay,
wait, no, so,
To explore their local history and.
and
Yeah.
become. No, well, I understand the difference.
I know, I
There's
personally
become
always
as
like
in
the
the
to
future.
and to, you know, to this verb, to that verb, you don't have to. Do it that way, but I always, that's how I write, so that's why I think like that. To explore local history.
But there's a difference between working on something to become something and then doing something.
we're not
doing
gonna-
something to
we're not gonna
become
use the
something.
word, well, we're not gonna use the words
That's
become
fantastic.
because we're talking about are.
So you're just asking
are,
to remove that will encourage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That will
the
encourage
four,
them.
yeah, those 4 words.
Okay, so then it reads, Coventry is a community whose residents engage with the town's heritage through exhibits, publications, events, and online resources to explore their local history
And to,
and are
and
stakeholders.
be stakeholders in local preservation,
And to be stakeholders, right, okay.
Okay, yeah, to be,
not to just be.
Long as, yes,
So we're not gonna-
active passive dichotomy doesn't, you know, bother you.
wait, let me
guys.
write that down, active, passive.
Yes,
It's a little, but that's all right.
So,
because otherwise I know what is it. like?
Writing is not my forte.
no,
So we're not gonna use the word "are," right, on the last line? Okay.
Either to be stakeholders or like,
Or not to be stakeholders, one or the other, right?
that is the question. I know. How else do you make that active voice to take a stake in, it starts, you
Yeah,
know,
it starts-
no one thing
It
seems any
becomes
better than
awkward,
another.
yeah, it seems a little awkward.
Probably finances.
All right, so I will bring that back next week, next month. And, that'll take care of that one.
Is that the formal vote then?
Oh,
We vote on it?
now?
Do we want to
Or
vote
when
on
it's
it as a final?
It's
We
pretty
just, oh,
final.
okay, we can do that.
We need to, we can always edit it
Yeah,
with a
So
motion.
can we have a motion to
Yeah.
accept the
I have a
vision?
motion to accept the revised.
Let's read it once more. as
Yeah.
opposed to
Yeah,
sake of
yeah.
the
Make sure,
minutes. So, all right, well, I mean, whoever makes the motion can be the one to read it. That's usually the planning commission does it.
Okay, so Coventry is a community whose residents engage with the town's heritage through exhibits, publications, events, and online resources to explore their local history and be stakeholders in local preservation.
okay with me.
okay, I make a motion to accept the revised version.
Second?
Second,
Oh, you did, I didn't hear you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So now I should send this to you in an email for the record?
I think so,
Okay.
yeah. So we'll say that this is ultimately also to go on the website, I guess.
Mhm.
That's,
Mhm.
that would be where else it's
something.
correct. Oh, we have the.
We have stuff.
Oh, yeah,
We have stuff.
And we have our mission and vision.
maybe the next meeting, we can pull back up the list of
Mhm.
ongoing
Mhm.
projects.
Yeah.
And start to check some of these boxes too.
Okay, Reed School, did you go to the school?
Yes. I mean, I have the original list
Oh, is that it right there?
right there, but we've got to add stuff to
Mhm.
this.
Yeah.
Now, you typed this up.
Mm-hmm.
So this is from your, when we first started
Yeah.
talking about it, but we need to add the bulkhead. To this list right here. I mean,
Okay.
I'm only saying because you have it.
I can do it, yeah.
You have it in something that you
Um,
did a while ago.
Yeah,
that I
and
pulled back up.
a note in my phone.
Okay, all right. So all I'm,
But I'll put it all in a document and,
Yep.
then spit it out somehow.
because you got most of like the fence repair stuff, which I've got to try and get a price on what a replacement would be, but that wasn't the maintenance work. And then the other thing that wasn't on here was just the window glazing, the repair to the
Oh, yeah,
window
yeah.
glazing,
Mhm.
the bulkhead and the window glazing. Cause you have the moving of the desks here, and that, and then cleanup of the growth around the outhouse. It's getting,
Well, like vegetation
yeah,
or like?
vegetation, yes,
Oh, okay.
vegetation
Yeah.
growth and that around it
Probably
and
should-
that, and it needs they need a little bit of work.
Should we consider taking the plumbing out,
Think what?
the plumbing out of the school? We're not gonna use plumbing.
Oh, I don't know, but that's an
No.
asset, really. I mean,
It isn't, I was told there's no septic system, so.
oh, so it's a toilet to nowhere?
That's
Goes
what
into a
Kevin,
cesspool.
They had a
It's not
cesspool
septic
at one
system,
point.
septic.
which is what Kevin McGee said, there was no septic system. so-
Wow.
And it's never, I don't know if it's
Can't
ever
use it.
really been used, so if we can't use it, should
Yeah.
we remove
We
it?
had a cesspool growing up. You can use it.
Yeah.
Well. Town
God
property.
knows what's under
You
the
can't
ground.
sell it.
I
You
know.
can't sell your
No,
house with
no.
the cesspool.
No,
but
just
it's not
suggesting
functional.
thinking.
Oh,
Because we always get a porta john.
Right, but I mean, if I'm gonna spend money on the Reed Schoolhouse, I wouldn't
yeah.
do that first. That would be like
Yeah.
the
No,
last.
no, I'm
time,
just
right.
saying adding it to
Yeah,
the list.
okay.
Yeah,
Yep,
I'm not
That
saying
would
let's,
be like a question one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's,
Yeah.
I think it's past the DPW.
Yeah.
like-
Cause there's no water in the building.
but you know what?
do you
Whoever
want
Just
counts-
this
shut off.
back?
Yeah,
Shut off.
yeah, and let me see if I can read your your writing on the other one, because I'm gonna need that to add that to.
Oh, I'll write it on.
Okay,
Okay, the lock
So-
is, I'm gonna just put it on here, lock.
what was in that room before it became a?
I don't know.
That would be something we should put on ourselves to find out what was in there.
Maybe a cloakroom or
Looks like
something?
it was just part of the hallway,
Really?
because it's just a little corner, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
they hacked off part
Yeah.
of the corner.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We should
And
find out. It'd
made
be
it-
really interesting.
No, I don't know if that was done when it was still a school. I could have been. the fifties.
But for the most part, they were using the outhouse then,
Yeah.
when the school was in active use as a school, yeah.
Or maybe they put it in while the school was still in use and all
Oh,
the
that's
kids
what I'm saying.
celebrated because they didn't have to go out in the freezing cold of the thing.
That's not the one room schoolhouse experience,
No,
that's the easy way out.
We should probably take a look at those outhouses too. It's kind of hard to get back there and look at them, but,
Really, it's that overgrown?
oh yeah.
Mm,
the mountain laurel
Huh.
eating them. It's like,
Wow, I hate working with stuff like that.
The vegetation clearing is the prerequisite.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, that's really important to keep vermin away and.
Town have an arboretum club.
Oh,
None that I know.
well, they do have that community garden, just put them in a truck and bring them over there when. Okay. Fence repair or cost to replace, locks need repair or replace, windows glazing, bulkhead, outhouse, clean, okay, yeah. Simple enough, so I'll put that all
so now
together
what's
and,
the process to getting things done now? You write up a thing here and you give it to DPW, is that?
Yeah, so, yeah, I know, I haven't heard anything new since last month, and at that time it was. We put together a list that basically explains, I figure for each one, like. A picture of, if it's something to be repaired, you know, a picture of what it looks like right now,
Mhm.
description of what it's gonna take. The extent that we can say, it's this type of paint, it's this type of. Strike plate, whatever, you
Mhm,
know,
mhm.
and if we know that, if we can say cost this much.
Mhm.
Those sorts of things, I guess that's the information that they need to know.
Mhm.
What each individual thing's gonna take, I just get the sense that they'll probably. Who knows, maybe they'll set aside a day to go out and do a bunch of things at once, but I could imagine them also just taking it piecemeal. When they've got,
Well, yeah,
you know, somebody's
yeah.
got spare time to do like
I
one
don't
thing at a
care.
time.
That's
I mean,
Mm.
would you talk to Kevin McGee on this?
Mhm.
I mean, again, he can always get a hold of me.
Yeah, he
And
said,
give, and I'll go over there with them
Mhm.
and just walk through it with them.
Yeah.
I know they don't like to have private citizens interfering, but it, you know, I think it'd be helpful here.
it may
To
end
do
up
it.
being that, yeah. I figure we'll get the list over to him first, and then we'll see, how
Yep.
he wants to continue it from there. Or
Yeah.
like, you know, whether he wants to start off by going out and seeing it for himself
Yep.
or whatever.
But again, I offer to meet him over there to just pretty much as a general contractor and builder for 50 years, you know, to
Mhm.
give him my input on it, you know, as to what's most important or whatever, if they're gonna do it first. You
Yeah,
know, relative to
prioritize it.
things that can deteriorate and whatever. I know he's been doing it a long time, but still, we've been studying this for a long time.
it'd be really good though if they do commit and actually start doing
Yeah, it
some of that
would.
work on
Yeah,
that, that's a
yeah.
big,
Yep.
benefit for us for sure.
Mhm.
So speaking of that, do you know if there's a budget amount for the commission for the 25-26?
I think they're keeping it the same as it was this past year.
Well, is
That was two, was it
$1,100?
two?
According to what I saw online.
Did you look at it? I didn't get a
I
chance
did.
to look.
Did
I
you see
did,
this
but-
year's?
Yeah,
Okay,
I believe it's 2,000.
Yeah.
okay, that's
Okay.
about what I thought.
Yep,
Yeah.
I believe it is.
Okay.
I meant to print it out and cause I saved it using the phone and I sent it to my computer so I could print it out, cause it's so little on there. But
Yeah.
based on what I believe it is, it's gonna be 2.
Mhm.
This is in the realm of things that, yes, I probably should have a better handle on, but you can see, I enter the cycle of, you know, plan reviews. And
Oh, yeah.
that's how life is, but, yeah, 2,000-ish is what I heard, and again, we should, I guess, think about what sorts of things, what sorts of projects we have that, yes, we could spend a couple bucks out of the
Mhm.
budget of. Here and there, whether it's materials, if there's any written materials we make. In a
That's-
couple of months,
yeah.
brochures and stuff.
I was gonna say that should be our priority because we can, spend some of the budget. And I think printed materials and starting to advertise what this commission does and all the benefits in the town, get that going pretty quick.
And that flows a little bit, you know, I can hold my horses till we get there, but.
Oh,
that-
okay.
That 250th anniversary celebration, that could be a
Mhm.
reasonable occasion to
Yeah.
put together some materials, so.
But then if they do that, the town would pay for that and it wouldn't have to come out of our budget, right?
Oh.
Suppose.
That should be
these things can all
town level.
negotiated.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, anything on the fallout sign, fallout shelter sign? Did you go see it?
I honestly didn't,
Okay,
but it's one of the things I never got to.
yeah, that's okay.
I'll have to
It's
stop
still
over
there.
and take a walk over.
What do you need to do? Look at it, see if it's in condition
Take it-
worthy of bringing it off,
Well,
taking it off?
see how it's attached,
Oh.
see if we can remove it reasonably easily, but I'm hoping that it just has like 3 screws or something in it,
Yeah.
you know, or
Mm.
4 screws that.
Yeah,
can
it
be
probably does.
done. Probably does. Oh,
That is yours.
did you copy him?
Yes, I
Good.
do have a question. There's not many, but there's a few in there that are HEIC files. My computer went, I don't know what this is. I'm
That's
not
probably
opening
one of your
this."
software apps.
Yeah.
It
that's-
is.
That's a photo.
It
editing
is some of the ones that
file.
I've modified using my photo software,
There's
so,
a couple, but not
Yep.
many. I'm not gonna worry about it.
yeah,
Again, historically not there. Ashland was one of the towns that was like flooded for the
Ashland, yes,
reservoir. Was
yeah.
there anything else?
I'm sorry
Was
to interrupt.
Rockland one?
Rockland.
Yes.
What else?
I just
Uh,
wanted to
one
say
that
a little
starts
bit
Kent.
of-
Kent.
There was one that
This is-
starts
Where
with
the
an
Kent
S.
Dam is.
Ongoing-
I think there was one that starts with an S.
Yeah,
Yep,
And
the gathering pulse.
I just did a whole map with them all on it too.
there were 6 of them, I think.
Yeah, my mother was born in,
'Cause I was seeing pictures. and
Wilbur Hollow was
What are
another
these
one,
photos on
small
there?
village.
They're all different things, but there was a whole
I should
section
have
in
brought the
there
map
of
to show you.
the villages that got.
I'm donating
by
it to
Situate
hope,
residents.
I just, I spent a lot of time doing
It was
this.
not particularly Coventry per
Right,
se,
yeah.
but it was.
But
I
It
kept
was of
seeing these
Situate
names.
and it was one
Just
of
a
his
side
work
interest
study
for
maps
you.
that he had done
Oh,
before
okay.
he made the
So it's
64
not part
map.
of any project.
Yeah.
that
And it
we're
was
working on.
bigger,
You know, it might be
and I
pictures
had it
that
scanned
we
and I
Yeah.
highlighted it and I took and hand colored it all for the reservoir
Yeah.
and whatever.
Did you
And I just had it, I got it back
I
today, I had it
Save
mounted on
Okay.
solid board to
Yeah.
make
I
it so
did
they
not
can
read
hang it.
that.
But
So
I highlighted all of the
about
towns
the
and where they
eventually
were,
it's gonna-
all the houses that were historic, or like, you know, various churches, things like
Yeah.
Mills.
Familiar
And all
enough
the notes
with
my
them.
grandfather had on there.
She made
Then I
them
added some of his
know
other typewritten
exactly
stuff
what they are.
to it to make it its own unique
One
one
way
for
to do it
that.
is just put things in
Great.
folders and then smaller
He does
folders and,
put
you
some
know.
of them in folders, and I don't know how many of these,
Divide 'em.
is that the whole collection of what you have, or is there more than that?
It's more than that.
That's what I was afraid of. But he's pretty much got them by villages anyway.
I
So
do.
it's just a question of,
I-
shoving the 2 letters of the village.
What
in
happens
front of
as
it
I
and-
keep scanning stuff, I keep adding to them, you know what I mean? So that's why with this back, I know what I've got on there and then I can, you know.
And some of them have writing on the picture itself
Yes.
that tells you what they
Yeah.
are. So, what I would do is if I use one of those, is I will put in 2 initials of the village, so we'll just set up,
Yep,
Washington is gonna be WA, and, the first 2 letters of whatever village it is, so that's becomes a standardized
Yep.
numbering system. And so you can easily tell.
you know, again, I have all those, you know, especially like the Situate stuff, the lost villages of Situate. My grandfather had those all marked on his maps
I
and
do
where
wanna
all the
know,
things were, but
you
Coventry different.
Coventry pictures of people, lots of people,
Of people,
yes.
I have some.
From what,
Did
what
you have?
period of time?
Say
1800s?
Late 1800s,
Yeah.
early 1900s.
We have a lot of the
Yeah, we have
Manchester,
some.
Lots of them.
Manchester.
Yeah, I know I gave you some in here, but I don't remember.
Gulch, that's what I wanna
Yeah.
know. It's Elmira Gulch.
The
do you
Wicked
know?
Witch.
Well,
Oh, I know who Elmira was. There is a lady in those pictures that dragged out on a bicycle.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
do we know who she was?
That's a real person, Elmira
you'd have to,
Gulch?
you'd have to,
Gulch is the character in Wizard of Oz.
Oh, it is?
The lady that wrote the.
Yeah, the
wanted to
That was
take
the-
That was
photos of
Elmira
Sarah
Gulch.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's Elmira.
Oh,
So-
But there's a picture of a woman that
yeah,
Could be her.
could be her. With the bicycle and everything. All she needed was a basket on the bicycle. It would
Yeah.
be perfect, but I just didn't know if you knew who
scary
it
looking.
was.
No, I don't. I mean, a lot of these things, I don't know who they are unless they.
Goes,
Yeah.
does anybody know who this
Mm.
person
Yeah.
is?
Yeah,
and another thing you can do if you got real artsy, like with graphic design, kind of ghost those into the website, into the web pages where they're just like images of people. I think that would be really cool. I just
You
get a
can-
feel
it's-
for that.
Yeah,
I used to be a graphic designer, but not for web. I don't know
yeah,
how
it
that
just
works.
takes it, when you start doing that in the background, it just takes it longer to load, that's all.
yeah,
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
flatten it though, if you make an
Instantaneous.
image and flatten it and just use it as a standard template.
You could
Maybe
do
not,
it, do it in the
yeah.
background.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was, just- I thought if you knew who that was off, because there's no identifying, there's a few pictures that have identifications on
Yeah.
them, but most of them don't. There's lots of pictures of kids. There's one picture, I swear to God, that it's a death photo.
Yeah.
Really? Oh.
Yeah,
Mm,
it looks like it. That was from the old glass plates.
mm.
Was
I
that,
know
that was,
it's-
okay, that.
Oh,
That's what I
wow.
know what you're
Picture.
talking about.
Yep.
I,
Mm.
I thought so.
Huh.
Sometimes those things do seem.
They would do that back then.
Yeah,
They would
yeah.
take, yeah.
I mean, it's part of history.
Yeah.
I mean, you
I
know,
mean,
I'd leave it in.
I'm guilty of it. I did it when my aunt passed away.
Oh,
when
you did?
That, for, yeah.
Mhm.
I
I just thought they did it in the 1800s, not
No,
now.
well, when I'm weird.
Family dog, though.
Yeah.
But that would be a good thing to put
That's
on a
true.
loop, like at like an exhibit.
Yeah.
Put something like that on a loop and just run it on a nice big
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah,
Of course, that's in
not-
its own, you
Okay.
know, it could be worse, because when I
So-
did my railroad research,
Just-
there were,
yeah.
they had a, you know, going through and I was trying to figure out which things would be useful for my own book. They had a folder that was dedicated to like when there were accidents, you know, which would
Oh,
be
I'm
groups of
sure.
Yeah,
pictures.
yeah,
They
yeah.
said, you know, you have to speak to the librarian, you gotta say who you are,
Yeah.
what your interest is, you gotta have a good
Oh.
Yeah.
reason if you wanna see that folder. You know?
Really?
So,
Mhm.
cause
Oh.
you know, all sorts of reasons people could want.
Did they write your
So
name down just
Colleen,
to make sure they
Well,
get
I
a
did-
copy?
I
Ask you,
I
do I,
steered clear.
you're looking for ones with people in it, if I
Well,
have,
if
yeah.
people, I just need to, I mean, it'd be nice to know who they were.
right.
Because when you're gonna put something on a website, it's nice to say, you know, this was Mary. Smith
It's like the one with the
John.
four guys on the bike,
Yeah,
which I had the names to. On that one, it was written on the back
Right.
of the piece, which was great, you
Mhm,
know, so.
mhm.
there, I mean, there was
That's
a bunch of
posting.
articles and stuff that were really cool that could be,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't post the article the way it is, cause it's to
Mm.
the newspaper and you kinda have to get a magnifying glass to read it. But I would retype it out, put a picture of it and then what the actual verbiage
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
was.
yeah,
That would be kind of fun.
And then credit the
And then
newspaper.
credit the
Yeah.
newspaper,
Mm.
exactly. Well, I'd have a picture of the newspaper there too. so
Mm,
that
oh,
they
yeah,
would
yeah,
able
that'd
to
be
see it.
nice, yeah.
And, you know, there's just
Yeah.
all kinds of different topics to go into.
Can't wait to
The
see
Main
it.
Street ones are just cool. I mean, looking down Main Street, looking
Yeah.
down South Main Street.
Mhm.
yeah.
it just-
Yeah, I like that too.
So, yeah, it was just a question of
Mm.
putting it together.
I've gotta go out to Hopkins Hollow in a week or so. From someone who the gentleman that came to our meeting,
Yeah.
back in
Yeah.
January.
Yeah, sitting over there.
He called me last week and wants to meet with me out there. He's gonna show, because he had some questions, again, because of my grandfather's maps
Mhm,
and
mhm.
information that was on them. But he's doing a forestry study with a group from URI, and again, he's gonna talk to me about, he always wanted to show me some of the things where the sites of a couple of the old sawmills were and that stuff, so I'm gonna try and take some pictures when I'm out there,
Do you
on
know
that.
anything
because I don't know
about
anything about Hopkins Hollow, I really don't.
a rope factory that was supposed to be off of Hopkins Hill Road?
Yeah,
Do you
I've
know
got
what the
pictures of
name
it.
of that was? Did it have a name?
I can look it up at
Hopkins
home,
Hollow.
I've got it in
It was
the,
rope walk. I don't remember.
there's a
names.
rope
I ha-
walk,
yeah.
right, but I have a
don't
picture
remember
with
the
the
name.
man in his
Yeah.
mill.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of
I
the
didn't see
guy.
that in the
I
stuff.
saw that, and it was like
No.
right off Arnold Road.
It doesn't mean,
I may have gone,
no,
no.
maybe it didn't get on there yet, I mean, I do so much of this stuff that I lose track of,
Mm,
is,
Yeah, it
was
was
that a
somewhere,
recent one, but I do have one of it.
right near the
Into
plaza.
Tioga, towards Tioga.
Yeah, it was not right off
Yeah.
of, right near the Lake Tioga,
Yeah,
right up
Arnold-
there and where that stretch where all the mills were,
Yeah.
up towards where the solar site is.
Walk, I don't remember the name.
That would be like down this end of Arnold.
Where Holmes Road is.
Yeah, right, I grew up at the corner of Arnold Road and Holmes
Yeah, it was
Road.
up in that
Where
area right
Holmes
there,
Road is around in that
where
area.
water tree
Really?
services and stuff in
Yeah,
that
it was
area.
over in that area.
Still industrial use, you know, probably started way back then.
Well, there was no development.
There were so many, there were a whole bunch of mills over there though.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I saw that picture.
Like-
Tioga.
yeah, yep, and my grandfather on one, and again, I apologize, I don't mean to just, but he had all this stuff on it. One of his Coventry maps had a bunch of the lace mills
Yeah.
marked on it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
One of these,
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to transfer that onto a real map.
Dam lake thing.
Yeah,
And
Would that
like
be
1, 2, 3,
wide?
4,
Yep.
5.
do you,
Could that be what?
yeah, that
Like you
page,
have
yeah,
that
Tioga
which is
dam.
from my
Yeah.
grandfather's map.
Ponds here has some sort of dam.
I'm only saying I can
Yeah.
take the
No,
map,
Tioga
that
has,
and print it
Tioga has
for
a
you,
dam.
if
Yeah,
you
but
want,
there
you
used
know
to-
what I mean, that
I
has
know
those
that one of
written on
these
it.
Yeah.
Well, that used to be the quarry, right?
With the
Yes,
various.
actually-
Yeah.
It's an earth
And you
and
have the
Yeah.
photos
sort of
in that.
retaining
There's a
Like
dam,
what?
little dams
Yeah.
all over the place.
That's
yeah.
what I mean, I gotta look at this
But
again
it-
and see what I.
But
Yeah.
that's not, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not
Well,
where the rope
there
walk was though.
Nothing there, just the quarry, and everybody would go down there and party
Hmm,
at the
okay.
quarries.
The thing about
Assortment and everything.
that map though is a lot of the side streets are not there
No.
because it predates a lot of those.
Were they down this way?
Are they expanding
Yeah.
center of New England for stores?
You're right.
Not
None of that
a
stuff
whole
was
lot.
there.
What we've Seen is, I know it's a bit of a
They're
diversion.
supposed
No.
to.
Not a whole ton by stores, like this area would
Yeah,
get commercial activity, but most of the other
I
stuff
thought
we've
they were
seen so
building
far.
houses there.
Yeah, this up here would be
I
houses.
thought.
but I thought on that side
On
too,
that corner.
the
Yeah,
Tioga
there-
Lake, no,
over
the
on
other side, the other side of
The other
Arnold
side-
Road,
The other side of Arnold Road.
Like,
where that
Yeah,
quarry
like-
was,
Crossover.
over, yeah, in
Yeah.
that area.
I thought they were gonna build houses in there. I
That
thought
is,
that's what I saw.
they're gonna build houses in here. If that's what you're
Okay.
thinking of.
Maybe
There's,
that's what I'm thinking
they're
about.
thinking about, either it's gonna be all commercial here or commercial with some residential. But
'Cause they-
probably some sort of commercial
Yeah.
component to it for that specific piece.
But not light industrial or anything, right? Just,
Mhm.
okay.
Can I ask an unrelated question to that, but related to what you would probably know? How are they doing with the connector road in center of New England over
What I was
to?
thinking.
That I think, and don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure they're aiming for the summertime.
Is that what, I know they're working on it.
It's building right now.
I never think to go down in there and look, but,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm sure it's-
When I first moved back here, I got lost along that road so many times. I'm thinking, it's the same name here, it's the same name there, it's gotta connect together some
Not
way.
yet.
No, it didn't.
I think the lake is coming to the end of that tunnel.
I hope so.
And so other question, Carbuncle Pond is Coventry, right?
yeah,
Because I did find a
Mhm.
thing about what was it called?
it's
The
Western
mystery of
Coventry.
Carbuncle Pond. I
Yep.
thought that would be a
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, that's,
Um,
and do you know this Indian story on Carbuncle Pond?
I don't know anything about
Okay,
it.
no, I'll get that for you. My grandfather
I
had
had
it,
that somewhere.
and yeah, cause he used it in his talks on Coventry.
Mhm.
The Indians hid the carbuncle in the pond,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't remember it. I just know that he had a whole thing he wrote
We
on it,
should
so.
go in there with underwater cameras.
Carbuncle.
It was a snake that had a valuable carbuncle on the top of his head.
So what is a carbuncle
legend.
then?
A-
Like a crown?
No, it's a whole stone, isn't it?
It's a gem.
Gem?
It's a gem, supposedly
Okay.
some
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, that's
gem,
what it was. I remember
Hmm.
now, yeah.
but I don't know why they called it
I
a
have,
carbuncle.
I mean, it's
I
been
thought a
too long
carbuncle
since
was
I
like you
looked
said,
at
like a
that, but
growth.
Doesn't
I
sound
know
like
there's
a
another
value.
whole little story that goes along with it.
That was diamond making.
Well, according to the
Yep.
definition of it, it's disgusting and it is a growth and it's disgusting, so we're not gonna go into the actual term.
Yeah, but supposedly the legend was that it was a gem.
Yeah, in
Mhm.
this case, yep.
And they
We'll
threw
go
the-
with your definition. of
Everybody
it.
was after the snake and they threw the snake in the lake or something out. That's where the snake and the carbuncle
It'll
are.
make for good content for the website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
ditch.
Yeah, if you wanna make it interesting, get people engaged.
Mhm.
Do we want to talk of ongoing projects at all?
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Somebody on-
Yeah, but I had
Yep.
announced it yet.
So next time around, next month, we'll bring out
Mhm.
the list, and so we'll have it. in
Yeah,
front
bring
of
it
us.
back out, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can mark some of the ones that we've got done.
Yep.
Maybe the fallout shelter sign hasn't already been put in, type it in live, that sort of stuff.
Has anybody gone in that town hall to see the scales? I call them weight scales. That we talked about last month that nobody ever noticed before.
Scales
I
of
did.
justice.
Oh,
I
you
saw
did,
him.
Yes, scales of
Mhm.
justice.
Just ongoing project thing. It's not anything that requires anybody to do anything but me. And that is, I had the guy donate the sign from Chase Field and some of the things
yeah.
from that I have at my house.
Mhm.
That should go in
Was it cases?
cooler, the walk-in cooler
Oh,
here,
in the freezer?
in the freezer,
Mhm.
sorry. the
How big
walk-in
are
freezer.
they? Or
The
it-
sign is like
Oh,
that's fairly big,
Yeah.
but I gotta,
but
I mean,
manageable, huh?
so my question is to you, Alex, I mean, is that unlocked
Yes,
or do I have to
no.
have
Yeah,
you
no,
unlock?
it's unlocked.
It's unlocked,
We can
so
go
I
in.
can bring them up someday. I just put it off because of what, I didn't feel like doing it in the cold weather, but
No, really, yeah.
if I'll bring those, I'll take pictures of them, so
Mhm.
do it. But we should send him a formal thank you note for donating them,
Who is it? You
Uh,
told me, I don't remember.
he lives right on Hill Street and DeGrade, his last name, John
Okay.
DeGrade. I'll get it. I've got his info, but
Yep.
I mean, I just think we should write a little short thank you note saying that, but I wanna, bring them up before they get ruined
Mhm.
from moisture or whatever. They're in undercover. It's not that, but
Are they wooden signs?
no, it's a
Or-
metal sign and it was for the ball field up there. They're building houses on it now where it
Yeah.
was. I played Little League there when I was a kid. But it was a ball field for a long, long time for the kids of Coventry. But he's got a few other, mementos and paraphernalia from that too, that he gave me. I have in a box, so, something we'll put in there for now, and I'll just document what it is.
Makes sense.
Okay.
All right, do we want to move on to the 250th anniversary, new business?
Sure.
Um. Anybody have any ideas? Nobody's has said anything to us from the town.
You had
Is it-
initially thought for this one, who was that who spoke with, was it Parks and Rec? What was the genesis of the most recent? Thinking about it? Did you say you'd spoken with someone from Parks and Rec or something like that? And then you thought of it?
No,
We just
no.
heard the
Parks and
town.
Rec, They said that the town council's been talking about it, but nobody has asked us anything.
Has anybody
So-
appointed anybody to be part of a committee for it? Do we
Yeah,
kn-
so do we,
I have not
Just
seen anything on
approach
the
them?
agenda about
Yeah,
it.
Do we
just
approach
today, I got a phone call from Maria, which that'll be the other new business thing. In the realm of fun stuff, but she had mentioned that, she wanted to have first a staff type meeting, to talk about 250th stuff, and then after that, I think get it rolling, so that's supposed to be in like, it was supposed to be next week, so I guess like 2 weeks from now. So,
when you
yeah.
say staff, it's you guys, it's not us.
Yeah, town staff, like she wanted to start there and then I guess get her bearings and then
Mhm, mhm,
open it up, maybe at that point start figuring out the committee itself,
mhm.
I don't know.
We
So
we
should
have
figure
all
out
of
our own
all of
plan.
the books and everything from when they did the 200th here in Coventry, and it was a townwide thing. They had whether it was what's the group of businesses? What is that called?
Chamber of Commerce?
Chamber of Commerce, thank you. Chamber of Commerce was very involved in it with stuff and organizing it, and there were groups from the high school. They put on a play. There was all kinds, and
There
we
was a
have that
parade.
book from the stuff from the Coventry Historical Society that I copied, scanned in that, but we have the physical book. But they did a tremendous job. They had a parade, they did, all
What year
kinds of
was
good
that
stuff.
approximately?
Been 50.
50 years ago,
76,
49 years ago.
76
70
was the
Oh,
last one.
70, 70, okay.
Yep. Yeah,
But that was also a town anniversary too, so.
17,
That's the only two
six,
that
so
happened.
I think that would be in 1976.
I was wondering if like I was in that.
But,
playing my
so-
clarinet. I was gone by then.
I'm just throwing that out there because as a reference point of something and how it was organized back then, they may need to
Yes.
visit that
They had a
and
ball,
see.
For ideas.
Didn't they have a
some
ball?
of those might still
a
be.
formal ball. didn't
They had all
Yeah.
kinds, they
Didn't
did.
we look at
Yep.
documents or related to state guidance on?
Chamber of
Thank you.
Commerce was very involved in a lot of civic
Then-
stuff then.
J.C.'s.
Some of
school.
them about state guidance on things you can do, but it was semi-pathetic. It didn't, first of all, there's no money available from the state. to
Yeah,
help
that's
offset
right,
this.
yeah.
It's strictly self-funded. But they were talking about things like
I remember now.
planting a tree or
Yeah.
doing a bench or, which seems kind of small.
Yeah.
But I don't know, do you know who was there a list of committee members? for
Oh, yeah,
that?
got the whole
Do you
thing.
have the-
I have the
'cause,
whole
I mean,
thing.
we could see where they pulled
Yep.
from to get.
They
people
did.
to-
And again, now, I mean, things have changed obviously quite a bit, but
They're still-
trying to get the town involved, I mean, I think you need to address things like the Coventry Alumni Association run by Ernie D'Amico, because he's very influential in all that. And I'm gonna see him next week, so, but I'm just saying, people like that who, who are involved in community stuff and have the contact to do it,
Mhm.
but they know a lot, with the high school and that in terms of one part of, you know, having
Yeah.
them involved in it.
Sounds like you should be
Well,
nominated to the committee, the
the-
250th committee.
The high school, I don't know when they're planning with, is there a particular month of the year that this is gonna happen?
In the
Is it
summer,
July
I
fourth?
think
Yeah.
they want a year's worth of events or, you know,
Yeah.
where they're open to having them.
but they do the biggest spot usually in the summer, because, you know, obviously the weather's good, so,
Good.
you know, people are on
Yeah.
vacation, the kids are out of school.
You know,
Yeah.
if it's in the summer, the
Yeah.
high school is kind of tough to coordinate.
'Cause they're closed.
not in
Not,
Boy
again,
Scout-
you,
There's Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and all kinds of clubs. and
I
stuff
understand,
that
but
we
when
do.
they put these things together, like with musicals and other stuff like that, like they did a big musical and that, the kids get into it, you
Mhm,
know,
mhm.
they enjoy doing
Mm.
that stuff.
I
like
think
it just-
Maria is probably focusing on the
Yeah,
town
yeah,
wide
And
part of
then-
it.
right,
But I like what you just said too, Alex, is that they're supposed to spread events and activities throughout the whole year. So I could envision a calendar of the
Mhm.
year with, you know, like one big event each quarter and then a bunch of little things like open read Schoolhouse for a day, you know, and call it part of the 250th.
Yeah,
So you just like brand everything 250th.
I'd like to think they have little contests or something, maybe like engage the art students in
We should
schools.
have
with-
an art
yeah.
show.
Yeah,
Should
just,
have an
you know,
art show.
make some kind of poster or something, you know, enter it into a
You
contract.
know?
There's all sorts of ways you can engage different
Mhm.
people.
How about a
different
history
points of
exam?
time.
No, that probably won't go over well.
Exam is not gonna help that thought too much.
we can,
But,
we
you
can
know, you
put
could-
you as MC of a video extravaganza
Oh,
on all the historical pictures.
Yes,
You'd have
and
to
now we have.
Yeah.
You know, Coventry through the ages. as
Maureen
your
do
art
historical
project.
cemeteries of
It's
Coventry.
School and first through third and
You
fourth.
could
and
even-
fifth and-
Well, no,
It's
it's like,
all-
we did like the trail, like the, like Rochambeau's trail, like
Yeah.
the cemeteries along
Yeah.
the trail. The French soldier that was
soldier.
buried
be
out
fun.
on
Yeah.
Plainfield Pike.
Be amazing.
I'm just surprised, like, it's just,
I had seen online.
I don't know, I heard
like
that
their own
the
personal
state committee was
but,
reaching out
uh,
with different
one of those
groups.
Western
and,
Facebook pages for
like,
old
A
pictures.
lot of people weren't even
A
contacted.
younger person had put some of them through.
PVPHS got
some kind of
contacted.
AI
and they're
program to kind of
participating.
animate them, so they have like,
Nobody
you know, the
notified
horses and
us.
buggies like going down.
I mean, there's plenty
Oh,
of,
yeah.
Some of it was interesting,
you know,
some of it was-
interesting stories and tidbits in Coventry history that you'd have to just kind of make a list of
Yeah.
things that and whittle it down to, you know,
Yeah.
a few best ones to use as
Be one of our
starting
judges.
point.
Well, Kim sent me a bunch of.
Well,
things
hopefully
about
we'll
the-
be able
is
to
it
have
the
some
McGregor
Maria,
and-
but I'll bet she's already got
They
one
must
of
have-
Like the one.
because she's gonna be
Like,
brings everybody
The
together,
one that
different
burned down in. Concord.
agencies, if you will, throughout the town.
Like a newspaper clipping that
But
Lafayette came.
There's,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, how many people know about the sawmills here in Coventry?
Yeah.
Not many. I only know about it because we wrote them all up, a whole big story on it for my grandfather's presentation we do. One of the first mobile, steam-driven sawmills was brought into Coventry when my grandfather was a kid. And he was living in Weston Coventry, right near the line, into that area where the townhouse was, because it had one of
Oh,
the
okay.
biggest, one of the best standing pine forests left in the state. So they had these and they came in with, you know, 16 horse pull to pull the whole sawmill in. They built about a half dozen worker housing things, and they used to have, I think I get the whole story on that,
Hmm.
you know, but how many people know about that,
Don't.
that they did
Nobody
that?
does.
And it was a big deal when they
And that was
did
right
that.
where the old police station is?
Yep,
Really?
No,
Yep.
the old.
because then there was
it's
the man from
You said
Situate
townhouse,
who
what does that
was
mean?
further up
the
by
Paul
Maple
Bunyan
Valley.
of Situate. And he
the
was so
corner.
mad that they came in
Maple
with
Valley.
him to take his
Yeah.
work away, that he
Well, that was a
supposedly
shame. That was the finest stand of pine.
put a
trees
rod in a
the
tree
state.
to nail it,
There's
and it
still a couple
almost
of
killed
beautiful
3 of the
ones
workers in
in
the
that
sawmill.
area.
The thing bit the, so it's,
Like,
you
they
know,
put a
again,
bunch of 'em
it's
down.
an interesting little story, but.
Well, and I
Sick
wonder
dog
too, I
on
mean, something like that,
husband.
you know, it doesn't take too much to make an event, I mean,
No,
if
it
you,
doesn't.
if the site is not, I mean, unless it's under like private ownership or
Yeah.
something already, like, in theory, you know, you could. I'm thinking, what do you have out there in the west that you could engage, like maybe something like that, you know? A small event where you put out coffee
heck
and
is that at the
donuts, free
bottom?
food for people to come, they have a little speaking program, 5-10
Mm.
minutes and what was there.
That Nicholas Farm would be a good thing for that. I don't know, is there,
State,
that's the state?
state DEM, yeah.
They,
Maybe we could
They own
work
some
with
of
them.
that.
Cause there's a lot of
Yeah,
history
right,
at
yeah.
Nicholas Farm, right?
Well, you also, you know, you've got the cranberry place out there.
Yeah.
Green.
Cranberry.
And what I'm talking about with these stories is that
Mm.
we'd have a thing like at community center.
Mhm.
Where you would,
Mhm.
and I'm
That's what I was
just getting
thinking,
at,
like
as
with
an
Expo.
historical thing
Yeah.
to do one
I wanted to do it
presentation.
sooner,
Yeah.
but-
Where you'd have like 5 or 6 stories that relate, you know, to things that went on in Coventry
Mhm.
over from the beginning to, you know, recent times.
Yeah,
Like, what's it, the murder of,
Wrote the book,
the unsolved murder.
the guy in
wrote the
green,
book on Green, yes.
yeah.
Out in Green. That one, are you familiar with that one?
remember
No.
his
See, all these good stories, you know,
Yeah.
but, no, it's a very interesting story. The
Yeah.
man was very influential
Yeah,
in
Somebody
Western
killed
Coventry. Yeah,
Mm.
he got murdered,
Yeah.
and if the first accused, what, his
Like-
son or something of doing
Yeah.
it, but anyway, they never found out who did it.
yeah, because nobody would talk.
Apparently he wasn't
Did he
liked
meet-
that well.
And I was gonna say, did he-
Squire Wood,
Pro-
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's it.
Squire
Yeah,
Wood
yeah,
Squire
yeah.
Woods.
It was all book, I think I
Yep,
got from you on.
yeah.
wrote the book on Green.
Yeah,
You know, they're the type of things that people would find it fun to listen to
Mhm.
and that, but the local history.
Well, and I wonder, yeah, maybe.
That's
some of these-
that's a Halloween presentation out in the middle
no,
of the night.
Maureen's presentation, the Halloween
I
presentation.
know, if you get, like, I don't know, you get people who are, somebody who's good, like, one good microphone. One person who's good
Hmm.
with, those computer programs that do sound editing. You can make those podcasts too, you know, like, quick.
Oh, yeah,
tell a
yeah.
couple
I'm
of
not
these-
good at editing.
A few of these stories that are
Mm.
well told verbally, you
Yeah.
know, that are easily conveyed like that. I mean, some of those things, that's another way.
Maybe we'll link them to the website or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
There's
like
all
that
sorts of
idea.
ideas, and maybe that's,
Just interview somebody.
yeah. Maybe this next month, I don't know, we could think of like one idea each or something.
Mhm.
Maybe, cause I don't know whether Maria after this first meeting is gonna say, all right, next. It's idea time, and then we're just ready with ideas,
Mhm.
but. That could be, I don't know, could be useful, we
Okay.
can just keep it on for next month.
Okay,
As soon as they figure out how they wanna set up their commission.
And a reminder, just this very second went off on my phone, so I wouldn't forget the other thing that she mentioned, which is that. There is a monument in front of the old police station to David Whitman, I think his name is. And so she said that one of the things that they want to do. Within the, broader sphere of 250th is, they're hoping to, set up like a veterans monument area in front of town hall. And she said that monument isn't like a veterans related one,
not.
so she said, is there any? Like, she asked me to ask you guys, do you know of any mills or anything in town that he designed or had a role in? Is there like anywhere in particular that would make sense in Coventry?
there's
Or the
information I
monument.
have at home, I'd have to look it up.
Okay, if you can send it over.
He's buried in Cranston,
And what's his name?
Yeah.
David Whitman,
David.
And what did he do?
You would say like
He
a
was-
mill architect or something?
yeah, he was influential in the American Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, huh.
How did he get a-
There was some
His
kind of,
thought.
yeah.
The Historical Society, Coventry Historical put it there and they used to maintain the grave. But this-
Is
I
he
don't know.
buried?
He's not
You said he
buried
was
there, though.
born
I'm
in
not
Coventry,
like Cranston.
buried in Situate or
No, I mean,
something?
how did he get it?
Cranston.
Part of the
yeah,
town hall?
I think he did a lot of work in Situate,
he's on the 7 Mile Road,
okay,
in
So-
Situate.
yeah, if you've got anything, you can easily send.
Yeah, I've
it
got
or bring it in.
information on him. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I've got information on him.
All right, yeah, one of the times you stop by,
Yeah,
if you want me to just make
yeah,
a scan
I'll
of
have
it
to look
quick.
for it.
Maybe he designed one of the mills in Coventry Center and
I
then he
think
could
it
put it
was,
right
I think
there.
it had to do with the machinery, the technology of it at the time. I think it was more that.
So are they looking to move that?
Yeah.
Well,
a
it's
monument
not a
someplace
veteran,
that
it's not a
is,
veteran
Like more
memorial.
associated with the.
Yeah,
what he
more
built, what he did.
appropriate to what he
Yeah.
did, yeah.
Plus, they probably wanna move all that stuff anyway, right? Cause they're gonna knock it down and put apartments there.
I don't know what they wanna do for
Yeah.
that building, but I think they're in the spirit of like. Gather up the monument, they're thinking
They
like
have
the
to move
veterans
them.
type ones, some of them
Yeah.
she said they'll just leave where.
To
Like
put-
certain ones they'll leave where they are, I don't think they wanna touch the one in
The big one?
Causeway, for example.
Oh, that's
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Vietnam.
So, yeah, but like I said, it must have come to mind.
Yeah, there were a few, there's one right on South Main, right? Isn't there one right there or something? No? No? that
Oh,
they
no, it's in
stop
front of
at?
town hall already.
Okay, oh, that.
They moved it years
Okay,
ago.
they moved it, yep.
Yeah,
Had that been in that, in the same area as the benches?
So the
Where had that
benches
been
could
at
go
South
there.
Main?
Yep,
so the benches could go there too, in front of town hall, those old benches.
The ones that people wait on the for the bus on, those
I never
benches?
see anybody sitting on
I've
those.
seen people sitting on on the one side.
I've seen them
Wait,
standing, but not
This
sitting.
is,
Hmm.
oh, and then, yeah, I'll say that other thing too, but this is a septic,
it's a
Yeah,
septic
To the
system.
mill,
okay, yeah,
to the mill.
it's too bad, I'd love for there to be some kind of park or something along the water.
Well, that's right next to the river too,
Yeah.
huh? Ooh.
Cause you can,
Dog park.
Well, cause
or
the,
something, some, you know, some kind of nice shady thing you can sit next to and hear the water, that'd be nice.
but the mill used to throw everything right into the water, and when everybody started about
Clean water. Act.
environmental and whatever,
Yep.
they put in that septic system,
Yep.
so they weren't dumping in the water
Oh,
anymore.
wow, wow.
Interesting.
They would never let them do that type of septic system today.
No,
It would have to
no,
be
that was done in the
a
sixties.
sand filter
That
type
was done
system
in the
today.
60s, I would say.
Yep, yeah. Then, no, it was done after that, cause I was living in my
70s,
house when they built it.
70s.
So it was in the seventies,
Yeah.
mid-70s.
I was across the street from the mill, we used to see when they dumped stuff in the mill.
But anyway,
And
so they're
the river.
trying to consolidate the veterans
Yeah,
monuments into
veterans
one.
related, yeah, to make like a
nice
monument
spot,
area.
yeah.
I think they said something like they might, well, I don't know if it's benches or what, but like the, you know, large enough. Hardscaped enough that it also like the library could, I don't know, have readings around there or something. Maybe it's, they haven't designed it or anything like that, but I just know that she mentioned that and she said if anybody knows anything about David Whitman and has a sense of what might be a good
Mhm.
spot to move his monument to let her know.
Yep, okay.
Now that I know the name, I'll look at some of the pictures and stuff I have, cause I have, you know, ones of various people and see if there's anything that's got a picture of them. I have a box that's sitting in my office, I haven't done it yet, but that's got a bunch of pictures of some of the people of Coventry. And
Mhm.
it's family,
Oh, okay.
okay,
yeah.
like family, two families, and they got, you know, quite a bit, and I gotta do it so that it's organized for it, but. And then, I mean, they're old, they're from like 1900 or
Wow.
1890s or around there, so. I just can't remember the name right now, you'd know it if I said it, but I just,
Yeah, off the top of your head, you can't, yeah.
The only other thing that I would add in the category of unlisted new business things that are just FYIs is that, this past month was when the state transportation improvement program solicitation period opened and then closed. And that's once every 4 years.
Opened and
that
closed?
comment comes around, yeah.
Well,
It's-
they give you 5 minutes?
They give you like 2 weeks or something.
Oh,
3
okay.
weeks. So anyway, you know, you can, this year they said only, you know, 5 potential suggestions per town and we'll see how much money we've got, we'll find out. But I had put down something for South Main Street, that would be like, I guess you could say some kind of streetscape-ish thing, something that they could take a more, again, these are not ADA compliant sidewalks anymore, those are narrow.
Mm.
Oh, they are narrow, there's nothing
Yeah.
about that.
So just to look at in general, because again, the road is
They're
in such disastrous shape. That it would need to be repaved, maybe there could be a bigger thought of. You know, can you put in lights that look a little older, is there anything you can do? To emphasize that this is a, you know,
Historic area.
historic area.
Yeah.
Same thing with eventually to put it on the radar, the bridge will need probably replacement eventually, because it's, I think 1919.
It really needs some concrete repair.
Yeah, but in any case,
Beautiful, but
nothing is ever guaranteed with that stuff, but just to say that. When, you know, we had our shot at it, we were thinking in this area, a lot of it, like sidewalks on Wood Street, so. Who knows, if these things snowball one day and, you know, one grant program begets another, then maybe there will be a chance to take another look for South Main and reemphasize the presence of historic buildings on it. Again, just to say, that's out there.
I had one other thing, and it just reminded me of when you said grants for stuff like that. Last time we were here, we talked about the Joseph O'Neill Art Fund grant. And I'm just bringing it up. I kind of thought about it for a while. It's only $750, so it's probably an easy grant to write up. But then what would we do with it? Because they kind of got it restricted to, you have to tie it to preservation of documents and photographs. The only thing I could come up with is maybe the purchase of software to enhance the web viewing. So I was gonna mention that is, do you know of any software that could enhance how the pictures come up on the screen for the end user? It's just a thought. That's the only thing I could come up with. Other than that, something for you that you could use to organize your photos, but you've got all your software already. But if there was something else, that's the kind of the angle we'd have to use for this, so.
Well, the
Yeah,
thing
that's
is,
pretty
it
quick.
depends on whether you were gonna. The reality is that this kind of stuff to scan, I don't have a great way of doing, I do them, but they're not the way you really should do them.
Those are a machine that,
Yeah, they have them, but I mean, you can pay someone to do them.
yeah. So the 750 is not gonna really go very far. I doubt it would even scratch
No.
the surface for software.
But software,
They
no.
charge, I know,
Besides,
for
we
like
have
these
to
sorts of
fit it into whatever the
digitization
town
things, they
uses
put it
with
down and they got
Yeah.
the camera mounted.
They'd have
Yeah.
to be
Those
heavily
are just a couple
involved.
thousand, you know,
I have no idea. No.
I don't know how. I've never been a part of a project like that.
Yep,
I just know when the Westerly Sun got digitized, that I mean, there were a lot of issues, that was
Mm.
probably 60 years worth of issues to do, but that was a big,
big project.
big grant.
Yeah.
to do that,
The other angle in here is, says this can include restoration, preservation, including the purchase of containers or housing for documents.
There you go, yeah.
So do we need that?
Yeah.
Do we need like tubs,
We bought, I know.
photo boxes?
Well, photo boxes and stuff like that, to keep stuff in, you probably do. If you're gonna organize the stuff,
Yeah,
and do it, but.
so,
That's all archival stuff.
yeah.
Archival,
So we'd have to do some research pretty quickly on what
Mm.
we mean by photo box. I can visualize in my head, but we'd have to describe it, maybe back it
Yeah.
up with a photo or
it's funny you
something.
say it, cause I just last weekend I started doing a little research on it for my own self, for all my historical pictures from my grandfather and of our family. I've got them all. And I wanna organize them in some sense. Right now I have what used to have all my drawings in, they're full of pictures.
Yeah. Mhm.
And they're all, and I mean, I know kind of where stuff is when I gotta look for it, but it's terrible because I
Yeah.
don't have it organized, so.
The thing is though,
But I was looking into
Yeah.
containers and stuff for
that's
'em.
serendipity right there. But the thing is that, like, if we're gonna purchase it
Yeah.
with the grant money,
Mhm.
those items would have to be like probably on town property.
Yeah,
And I
Yeah.
wonder, I mean, I'm sure there's nothing wrong with throwing your hat in the ring, but I also wonder, do they expect? Who knows, maybe it doesn't matter, but like, you have the boxes in an organized fashion, like, are you expected to do it because the public would browse them?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mostly when they're, for preservation purposes, they're giving you money to buy archival supplies
Yeah.
that will preserve that piece of paper, not necessarily so that the public can paw through it,
Okay.
but it's because the plastic sleeves you buy in stores and stuff degrades
No,
the paper.
The way we
The
could sell,
archival
Yeah.
they have
supplies
certain
are
ones
very
for different
expensive.
size. They have
Yeah.
them for 8x10, 5x7, 4x6
They have
and so on.
favorites, they have
the way you can
special
sell those kind of
boxes.
containers is that it enhances our ability to organize the photos so that we can show them to the public by knowing
Mhm.
what we've got. We have to be organized before we can
Yeah,
start showing the end user on the website.
but they had them, and I didn't,
With you to preserve it for the sake of preservation.
Mhm, mhm.
they,
So,
I didn't get that far in my research on it.
Yeah.
I just started it to see what was out there and, what I might do, but it applies to this
mhm.
as well,
So if we, I don't care either way if we do it, like I said, it's $750, but we don't want it to float away if there's
What's
something
the
we could
deadline
actually
again?
use it for. What is the deadline? I don't know if I see the
I
next.
remember.
Oh, May 12th.
Because I remember being sometime in
Yep.
May.
Yeah. So
And is that a government grant or is that 501(c)(3) grant?
It's
it
Rhode
comes-
Island Foundation.
Island Foundation.
yeah, I
Oh.
think so.
Answer my question though, do they give to governments or do they give?
No, I think they do, because I first heard about it because the town manager forwarded it, so if he got it, presumably the government was eligible.
Yes, it says, let's see, to preserve original historical manuscripts, documents, and municipal records dating from the 19th century and earlier for the smaller cities and towns in Rhode Island.
Okay, so it is.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're,
You should get it
okay, so
and use it for
Yeah.
archival storage
Would-
materials.
would you continue your research
I
and make
will.
like a little shopping list that you
I
need
will.
10 of these and
Yep.
25 of those? equals
Yep, now that I
750.
know you're gonna do that,
Okay.
you know,
And then you'll have to get
Worth
me
a
the
shot.
official
Yep.
in, I guess, right? Like the way I can get into the website for the.
Yeah, I'll see if if there's any like particular login that needs to be.
Yeah,
done.
I'm sure, because I wouldn't, because this is gotta be a government person that does this, so I'll be the same. I'll be working on the sidelines and funneling things to you, or
Okay.
if they allow it, I'll do the grant report or whatever. So maybe for the next meeting, just maybe a couple of screenshots of what they look like too.
Yep.
Since the next meeting will be
No,
May
May,
first,
May 1st.
and then the thing's due the 12th, that's our only meeting
Oh.
to see it, so I guess we have.
That's
We
right,
would
it's the
have the
second.
draft grant narrative
Yeah.
or whatever to look at. and
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
say, we like it, and then
Mm.
after that,
Hmm.
send it
Send
off
it
to
in.
the rest.
So, I'd like to be able to see the application, because that way I won't, go overboard and write a lot of stuff and find out, 10 sentences will be enough.
Yes.
Fill in the box.
So then, so it begins with figuring out the login.
Yeah.
So if it's gotta be if you gotta see whatever .gov email, then I
Right.
make one,
Yeah.
I guess I could take screenshots of whatever the questions would be,
Mhm.
and.
Yeah, so
Or if it's just an application form, they
Yeah.
download that and email.
there was another
Okay.
document that you attached to that email too. I'll go back and refresh my memory what the other document was.
Mhm.
It might have had more explanation than this
Okay.
piece here.
Then we got a project for the upcoming month.
Yeah.
About 6 websites.
Okay.
Right.
Anything else anyone wants to bring up? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second,
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:09 PM.